Social media can be a great thing for your business, but it can also lead to dealing with negative comments and online trolls. In this episode, we discuss how to not play the victim, how to keep your professional composure, and how to continue to build your long term brand. You cannot build a business if every comment destabilizes you. Most importantly, we'll discuss the 3 ways in which I think about negative comments and why I completely changed how I handle them. Hi, I'm Burnett King, the founder of Noble Crown Fragrances, a company dedicated to elevating your space through the power of scent. The Noble Crown podcast is here to talk about the business of building a product-based brand with lessons learned that help you reach your goals faster and better understand the industry. If you're watching on YouTube, please take a moment to subscribe. It helps the channel grow and keeps you connected to future episodes. All right, so the first tip in dealing with negative comments and online trolls is to take the negative comments as a sign of success. If no one's criticizing you, you're probably not visible enough. So, visibility creates polarity, meaning the more people see you, the more divided on whether or not they like you, your brand, your products is going to increase. A brand that appeals to everyone has no identity, right? So we've talked about this multiple times in many podcast episodes, right? But you really need to identify your audience, and you're pitching your marketing and your audience and your products to that audience at all times. And so people might come across your products and marketing who aren't in that audience. And guess what? That's not going to appeal to them. And that's not a bad thing. Strong positioning actually repels some people. If someone feels strongly enough to comment, you actually have some market presence. So let's talk about my brand, right? And I'll walk you through how some ways it can be polarizing. So Noble Crown is minimalist, right? That's a key identity driver. Minimalism does not appeal to everybody, right? Not everybody likes simplified marketing, branding. Not everybody loves minimalism. Noble Crown is elevated, right? So there's some kind of position that you are elevating your space. You are making your space better. And not everybody wants to improve, right? Some people want things that they already have. They feel comfortable in what they already have. They're not trying to change their space. And so my brand isn't for them. Noble Crown is not a discount kind of mass market fragrance, right? Some people care a lot of people care about pricing and how cheaply they can get something. My brand is not going to be for them, right? Sure, I run sales here and there, but I'm not about discounts and just kind of mass market pricing. And I'm not about mass market fragrances either, right? So my fragrances are challenging for some people. And so that is something that is going to polarize an audience. That means some people just won't get my brand, and I have to be fine with that. You have to be fine with that as a business leader, right? If you're creating a brand and you're creating a business, not everybody is going to love everything you do, and you need to learn to accept that. The goal isn't universal approval. The goal is building a loyal customer base that your products or services resonate with. So here's an important nuance. Not all criticism is hate, right? Just because somebody criticizes something doesn't mean they hate you or your brand, but hate often signals that you're no longer invisible, right? So when there is hate or trolling or things like that, that means, guess what? You've made it enough into the public space that people are going to start doing those things to you. So think about it this way. When you move from 100 viewers to 10,000 viewers, right, the number of negative comments will naturally increase even if that percentage stays small. So the percentage can stay the same, but you're going to see a lot more negative comments. So growth is actually magnifying everything, right? And that's a sign of growth and success. Tip number 2, extract the data, don't ignore the signal, right? So even rude comments can actually contain useful information. We're going to break the comments down into 3 categories of feedback, and then whether or not you should address them, right? So there's this kind of first bucket of one-off negativity. So this is just people blasting off at the mouth. They're leaving a comment and have never bought your product or even visited your website. This is something that you can probably just ignore, right? These are things that you don't take seriously on the internet or online. Like, just ignore these things, right? The second bucket is customer critiques. So these are coming from people who have bought your product or service and have negative things to say. So whether this is about the experience, like the buying process, the browsing process, whatever it is, or the product, there may be some truth to what they're saying, right? And you need to analyze that to understand if maybe what they're saying is, even though it's mean spirited, it might actually have some truth to it. So the tip here is to take it as one data point. If there's a way for you to better their post purchase experience, reach out to them on the same platform where they commented, try to help. This is just good customer service. Additionally, if multiple customers are saying the same thing, you need to dig deeper, which brings me to my next bucket, right? Which is pattern criticism. So multiple people are saying the same thing or similar things, whether they're a customer or not. That means themes are starting to appear. And that's actually valid data, right? So it might not come in the most positive way, but there's data and it's building. So obviously, the more people that are saying the same thing, the more you can take it seriously. Here are some examples of things that you might hear. So this is too expensive. This price point doesn't work for me. This product or service didn't match my expectations. So I went in going one way, and when I got it, I felt another way. And we'll come back to that one in a second. Your website is too hard to navigate. I just can't find what I need, right? This is a big one. But to go back to the matching my expectations, so I'll tell you about a product of mine, right? So I advertise Salty Dog heavily. So Salty Dog is a citrus scent. It is grapefruit focused and it is a bit sweet. It has some florals. And what I heard, right, buying fragrances online, blind, as we call it, blind buying in the business can be difficult. And so people will not know what something smells like before they buy it. Now, I have ways to get around that, right, with sample packs and bounce back discounts and things like that. But what I was hearing with Salty Dog is that the scent is too sweet, right? And people weren't expecting it to be sweet. And what I realized is that some of my marketing was actually like showing it as this kind of clean, fresh fragrance, which it's not really a fresh, kind of airy fragrance. It's citrus based. It has some greenness to it, but it's not fresh. It is sweet. It is citrus. There's a little bit of floral. So I needed to clear that messaging up, and we'll get into how to address all of these things in the next section. But first, I want you to think about, instead of reacting emotionally, ask yourself the following questions. Is this perception or is it reality, right? So are these people reacting with, what they think, or is it, hey, somebody actually bought this and is saying the following about it? Is your messaging an issue, right? What I was just talking about. Is education an issue? You need to actually explain things a little more clearly. Is there a product or website issue, right? All of this is about practicing a key mind shift, a mindset shift. Don't immediately react with emotion. Instead, audit with data, right? You're always trying to collect data, and this is useful data that you're receiving. And so you need to be able to audit to see if there really is a problem and if you need to correct something. So here's a practical framework for how to dig into those issues. When you see someone criticize or leave a negative comment, ask, is this about taste, right? So is this an audience mismatch? Meaning this person is obviously not the right person for my product. That's a taste issue. Is this about misunderstanding? So education or clarification can actually lead to higher conversion. I need to do a better job of explaining something. Is this about execution? So is there some operational problem that's causing repeat mistakes or repeat bad experiences? So if it's an audience mismatch or a taste issue, think about how you can make sure your marketing and media is getting in front of the correct audience. So what's happening is this person isn't a part of your core audience. They're not a part of your core customer, your ideal customer base, but they came across your marketing or they came across your website somehow, right? How can you shift more of your resources to get in front of the correct audience? That's the issue you need to address there if you're consistently seeing audience mismatch or taste issues. If it's a misunderstanding issue, how do you improve messaging in your advertising or on your website? Do you need to update product descriptions? Do you need to update your creative and your marketing? Do you need to update your FAQs or your policies, right? These are things that can be done through copy or explanation, whether that's video or whatever it is, right? This is an educational issue or a clarifying issue. And lastly, if it's execution, you need to identify the root cause of the operational problem and then fix it, right? Because until you address that root cause, then it will keep happening. And you need to stop that from happening because eventually you want return customers, right? You want to retain the customers that you already have. And so if every customer is dealing with some bad experience of buying your product, then you need to identify what that cause is and try to fix it. So all of these positions or all of these questions and tactics position you as strategic rather than reactive. All right, now let's talk about tip number 3, responding with positivity or not responding at all, right? And this is this is the most important because this is how you're actually going to deal with things. So remember, you are building a brand. You are not trying to win an argument. I'm going to let that sit there for a second. Let's say that again. You are building a brand. You are not trying to win an argument. So arguing publicly lowers your brand position, right? Yeah, if you're getting into arguments with people on the internet, like you've got better things to do with your time, and it shows your brand as being petty or combative. That's not what you want. Screenshots live forever, right? So if you react negatively to somebody, they can screenshot it, other people can screenshot it, and then it will spread. And that is not what you want. Your responses are for future customers, not the online troll that posted them, right? So if you are going to respond to something, try to make it so that people who are reading those comments can either be educated or clarified on the situation, or just see that you're a positive person that is willing to communicate with your audience. Now, here's an important way to reframe things. The comment is not about you, it's about the commenter, right? So often these comments are not, yeah, they might feel like attacks, but in reality, it's about how that commenter felt that day or about some experience. And oftentimes it has nothing to do with you as a person. So let's break the response strategy down into 3 tiers. All right, tier number 1. So good faith criticism, right? This is things are actually coming in from a positive perspective, or maybe it's not even a positive perspective, but it's actually good kind of feedback. So you want to respond with clarity and gratitude. So first thing you're going to do is thank them for their feedback, or thank them for identifying an issue. Then clarify if something is incorrect in their statement or some assumption that they're making, and use it as an educational moment, again, for those future readers of the comment. Then invite offline conversation, right? So especially if this is a complex issue or there's something going on that probably doesn't make sense to announce to everybody that's reading it, or you just need to de-escalate like a customer service situation, you want to take it offline so that you're dealing with that person one-on-one instead of one-to-many. Tier number 2 of feedback, snarky but harmless comments, right? So these are people that are just kind of trolling you, but not really being overtly negative, right? They think your marketing is stupid in some way, or they just think, hey, this is a dumb product. I'm going to post something silly because I'm a comedian. I'm a jokester on the internet. So you can either reply in a short, polite, neutral way, or don't respond. Personally, I don't respond to these. I leave them up. I leave the comments up, but I just don't respond to them because usually it can lead to even more problems. So just let it go. Essentially, let it go. Then there's tier number 3. So these are the obvious trolls, the bad faith actors, right, who are coming on here and attacking you for some reason, or attacking your business or your products or your marketing, whatever it is. Delete or hide the comment. That's the best thing you can do. Hide the comment, delete it, block the commenter so they don't see more of your stuff and just like perpetuate this, and then move on with your life. You do not owe anyone access to your nervous system, right? Think about that. You don't owe anyone access to your nervous system or your brain space. Running a small business is personal. I get it, but you cannot treat every comment as a personal attack. Emotional regulation is actually part of entrepreneurship. You have to learn how to de-escalate your own reactions, right? And how to kind of regulate your own emotion, because you don't want to always be thinking emotionally about every aspect of your business. If you spiral every time someone misunderstands you, you'll eventually burn out. So in closing, let's talk about how to protect your mental space, right? Don't read comments at night before you're going to sleep, right? It's not going to help you relax. It's not going to, all it's going to do is make you obsess about these things over and over again, and you will get anxiety and stressed out. Do not respond immediately. So when I read a comment, unless there's a customer service issue that I need to solve right away, I don't respond immediately. Give it a few hours, give it a day. Like it's not that important, right? That you need to address something immediately because you might react more emotionally. Screenshot kind messages and actually share those with your community, right? So this is something I love to do. I love to post great reviews and comments on Instagram as a way to remind my followers, hey, we're in this together. So don't just focus on the negative, focus on the positive. And this is another one. Remember, there's a silent majority, right? So for all the people that are leaving negative comments on social media, there are way more out there who love your business or your products or your services, and they're just not commenting, right? Because they are doing other things with their life, but they actually like your business. They love what you're doing. They're supporting you, but they're just silent, right? The negativity stands out because it's sharp. It feels like an attack, and it feels like there's way more of it, but in reality, there's not. So in closing, remember, building a long-term brand means having a thick skin. Hopefully, I provided some useful tips on how to deal with negative comments and online trolls. But remember, success attracts noise. Number one, success attracts noise. Criticism is actually information, right? That is data that you're gathering. And third, composure is power. Not every comment deserves your energy, but your vision does. So as always, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It helps spread the joy of fragrance and supports fellow entrepreneurs. If you'd like to explore any of the fragrance products that I create, visit noblecrown.shop. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.